Welcome all you comics aficionados to a special video from Deviant.fun, because today we're going just to skip through some books that just arrived. We're not getting into much detail about them, so let's get through. Let's get to it straight away. So first thing is a second comer, but since we sold all the copies, we like Selena in the shop. We like looking at Selena. Who doesn't? Once in a while. So we've got volumes 1, 2, and 4, waiting for 3 still. We've shown these books before in another video, but still I'll quickly live through. This is a run by Joel Jones, which is finished by Ram V. You can still consider it as part of the series, I think. So Joel Jones is not only a great drawer, she also writes very, very well. And in this book, if I remember correctly, she's both artist and writer. She has some aid by Fernando Blanco, of course, and the colors aren't her own. But yeah, so you can expect great artwork. And you can also expect better paper, but don't count on it. It's that infamous mildly quality paper from DC. Yeah, we have to live with that. So this is volume 1, Copycats, then volume 2, Far From Gotham, which is a bit thicker when compared to the first one. You can see it's much more of a book. Still Joel Jones behind the scenes, doing the writing, doing the most of the penciling too. Yeah, so this is a high credited run that I'm keen to look at because I haven't read it yet. Big sin, confessing it right now. Wow, this cover looks awesome. Yeah, this also is a very thick trade paperback, especially if you take into account that the paper is super thin. So this is some good amount of material to read. So this is the first thing we have that we wanted to show. So these are restocks, really. Then there's another restock here that we almost didn't present because it just went out the door as soon as it arrived. And I'm talking about this awesome series that joins Ed Brubaker with Greg Rucka and Michael Lark. What a trio. Let me see if Michael Lark is in all 4 volumes. No, only on the 4th volume. We don't have Michael Lark's artwork. I love Michael Lark. For me is next to Sean Phillips. He's one of the guys I like the most for this kind of books, pulp, crime, noir, illustrations. And this one I can say I've read it, only volume 1, and it's really, really good. So it's basically, this series basically tells you what happens when the heroes are away and the Gotham police has to deal with what's going wrong in town, because Gotham's crime never sleeps, as you know. So it's a different take on Gotham. Of course the superheroes also show up, but only in scenes. You don't follow them, they just have some appearances, because the main focus is on the GCPD, the Gotham City Police Department. So it's real pulpish, but in a scenario that we know and are used to see filled with superheroes and superpowers, but here you'll see the humans like us, or at least like the police guys, the ones of us that are policemen. Yeah. So no superpowers, just crime investigation, lead following, fighting, shooting, asking for help, because they will ask for help from the superpowered guys, of course. But this is mainly the Gotham law force and its misadventures. This is a great series. I can't recommend it enough. So we have the complete collection, because it's just 4 volumes. There's an omnibus that is very hard to find. So you better stick with the trade paperbacks. These ones are also already sold, but yeah, we can get more, of course. We have already ordered more, and I'll probably order a copy for myself too, because this is awesome. If the other books are as good as the first one, I'm completely bought. So this is Gotham Central, Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, and Michael Lark. Yeah. What more could you want? And going back to Catwoman and Batman, we just bought something that we couldn't resist. It's a special edition, the wedding album, the deluxe edition for Batman and Catwoman, the event of the year when it occurred. The wedding of the century, like it says here, is commemorated in this special collector's edition hardcover. Let me try and read the small print. The day has finally arrived, the nuptials of the bat and the cat. But their road to wedded bliss won't be easy. Yeah, we kind of expect that. So let me show you. The back is completely dark. This one, as you can see, it has a shiny effect. So it's a very pretty book, and the paper is good, unlike the other ones, the trade paperbacks. This is not that kind of paper. This is good paper, and as you can see, it's great artwork. By the way, let us see the names involved. Really? It doesn't say? It says. Let me see. So the contents: the engagement, the dress, the big day, Batman number 50 variant cover gallery, inside the script for Batman number 44, and then a sketchbook. And we've got some names here: James S. Rich, Mark Doyle. But these are editors and things like that. Kind of lost here because it doesn't seem to. Maybe those names are the. Yeah, but it says they're the editors. So where are the guys, the artists? Jim Lee published it. It's very strange, but I can't see the name of the artists. It's a bit weird. So let's take a leaf through very quickly, because like I said, this video isn't focused on showing you details on the books, but as you can see, the artwork is incredible, and the colors. Look at this. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Of course this will vary because there are different artists here, different issues collected in here, but still. Here you have the writer, Tom King, for the wedding. That I knew. I didn't need that information, but as for the previous one, yeah, I would like to know. So as you can see, different artwork here, definitely. let's just peek a little bit more, and then the variant covers. So a great part of this book is covers and sketchbooks and pieces of the script and things like that, because, well, it's a special edition, right? A commemorative edition. Batwoman, Catwoman in a very beautiful, small hardcover. Loved how it looked, promising. Then I'm going to show you something that, well, we won't put up to sale, but we'll eventually will. It's called The Beautiful Death by Matthew Bablé. It's a very big book. It's not very big, but it's bigger than the trade paperback. It's not fitting on the screen. Sorry about that. So I read this book. I know it. That's why I ordered it for the shop. It's sci-fi. It deals with a band of kids. They're mostly teenagers. They are left in an abandoned Earth, an Earth that is taken over by insects that seem to swarm with some kind of intelligence. But the thing that really sucked me into this book was the scenarios, the way that all the destruction and loneliness, voidness, if that word exists, is depicted in the book is remarkable. I really love the artwork in what regards to that. I don't like the way faces are depicted, but yeah, forget it, because the landscapes are breathtaking. As for the story, well, it depends on how hardcore fan you are on sci-fi. I'm not a big sci-fi fan. I found the story interesting, but not overwhelmingly exciting. There are some mysteries here, because there's a human character that you sense, you understand right from the beginning that there's something wrong about her, that she knows more than she lets know, and she tries to seduce the male guys in strange ways, so it seems like she wants something from them, but you can't actually tell what it is quite until the end of the book. But the quality of the coloring is superb, in my opinion, and like I said, the depiction of the scenarios of the wasteland that was left behind after Earth was taken over by insects, it's just superb. So there's this kind of I wouldn't say mysticism, but it has a vibe of something strange, like alien-like or magic-like. You don't quite understand if it's. Sometimes it's hard to understand what reality really is. So it's an interesting read for me. But mostly, for what I get from this book is the awesomeness of the wrecked buildings and the solitude that is expressed through the drawings. Super work there. Then, moving on to something completely different, because we recognize we have too few manga titles, and we're trying to correct that. I've said it in the past, and we can get manga at very interesting prices. So even though we don't stock it, we can get basically almost anything, unless it's out of print, of course. And we decided on this title. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, and this is number one from the Trinity series, Trinity in Tempest. So after that time I got reincarnated as a slime got to an end, a new story began. At least I think so. I haven't read the original one. So it's what you expect from manga. reading from right to left, from top to bottom, etc., etc. Consistent, good artwork. It seems that they don't know how to draw badly. Yeah, so we're also trying to self-educate ourselves in manga and be more helpful to you when you want to choose something, if you don't have any ideas or if you're looking for new ideas. Most of you, I imagine, like doing it on their own. It's part of the pleasure of reading comics or any hobby, finding out new stuff. I like doing it on my own, but I really appreciate when someone sends me a recommendation. I really love that. And then continuing with manga, finally we got Junji Ito in the store, the master of Eastern horror, manga horror too. So this is the version that collects Uzumaki 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's called Spiral into Horror, Uzumaki Junji Ito. Spirals. This town is contaminated with spirals. Kuruzocho, a small fog-bound town on the coast of Japan, is cursed. According to Shuichi Saito, the withdrawn boyfriend of teenager Kirigoshima, their town is haunted not by a person or being, but a pattern. Uzumaki, the spiraled hypnotic secret shape of the world, this bizarre masterpiece of horror manga is now available in a single volume. Fall into a whirlpool of terror. So Junji Ito is known for doing really out-of-the-box horror, many times involving physical deformation. He even uses objects that assume terrifying capabilities or abilities or characteristics. So he can do horror with pretty much anything, and that's why he has such a huge amount of fans, because he really stands out. His vivid imagination seems to be able to produce horror from a pen or a chair. I think there's a story about a sofa, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's part of this collection. I'm not sure, but yeah, but there are such stories. So you can see it doesn't need much to make you shiver. It's not that kind of horror of jump and scare or scare and jump. It's more psychological horror. That's what you can expect from this. So it's a very, very, very thick book. It should be called Uzumaki Omnibus. It's not, but it's a 3-in-1. And that's it for Junji Ito, and that's it for manga, because I have no more manga here to show, but I have a restock here that went out the store so quickly, and at the time I had only grabbed a copy, so now we grabbed more, and also one for myself, because this seems very, very good. It's got two names that immediately catch my attention anytime, anywhere: Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. So you don't need to say more to me, at least I'm convinced just when you say those words. So this is also pulp, crime, etc. But it's got, even though it's Sean Phillips, it kind of feels a little bit different from the Sean Phillips we see nowadays. That's probably because this book isn't very recent. Let me try and see if I find the original release dates. Let us try finding here 2002 and 2003. Yeah, I think I remember now when leafing through this video of telling this was almost 20 years old, and it doesn't look 20 years old, but it's Sean Phillips 20 years ago, so it really is different. Still very good, but different. I confess I wouldn't be able to say, okay, it's Sean Phillips. Here, yeah, it looks more like Sean Phillips, but not at the beginning. So I've had opinions on this book, and they are all very, very favorable. There's a season 2 that is very hard to find. Not that this one is easy to find, it's not. But yeah, you can still grab it if you look for it and wait for it. As for season 2, it's a bit more difficult. It's on our to-do list or to hunt list. Let's hope we can find it one day at a affordable price. Fingers crossed. So as you can see, it's a very thick book. Let me see if it says it collects Point Blank, Sleeper Book 1. I can't see because of the price tag, and I'm not going to take it out. Next, restocks. Yeah, The Swamp Thing, Saga of the Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. Since now it is difficult to get the original volumes, so the easy way and probably the best way, unless you're going for absolutes, is to get these nice trade paperbacks, which they call books, because they're more than just a trade paperback, normal trade paperback. And so we've got book 1, 3, and 4. I thought we had received book 2, 3, 2, 2, 2. I gotta learn how to pronounce different 2 and 2. So let's just take a little peek. So this is Alan Moore, of course, right? And Stefan Bissett. Here also Stefan Bissett. And here it seems on the book 4 that John Totleben is oh no, he's the colorist, I think. Yeah. So this is an Eisner Award writer that you know, of course. Everyone knows Alan Moore. And I hope you've seen an interview with Alan Moore, because he's quite a character, and I'm not trying to make fun of him. He is odd looking, but he is also a very interesting, different person. If you like to hear a guy with some very concrete views on the world, on the modern world, yeah, that's a guy you'll want to see on an interview, because he will have his very own, sometimes surprising and different opinion on stuff. And you can tell that he is a guy that thinks about life and why things are as they are, how they could be different. And that's probably why he can come up with these great stories that he has been putting through the years. So this, of course, looks very outdated, because this is just a reprint of the original material. Even the paper feels like those old books. They do it to preserve the colors. I think it's the easiest way to make sure it will look just like the original. And I think that's a good idea, unless you really want to recolor them because you're not satisfied with the original colors, and then okay, just advertise that it's recolored and then use different paper. That's okay too. Yes, Saga of the Swamp Thing, and I love the covers. Let's just see a little bit more. The art doesn't change much, it's very consistent, because the artist was kept. Good old days when an artist could draw more than 10 issues of something without being switched by another guy, right? Yeah, we don't have much of that currently. Maybe that explains some things that are not very well in the industry. And then finally, because, well, we want everyone, not only Iberian people like us, Portuguese and Spanish, to know these books, we've decided to acquire Wrinkles from Paco Roca in English, though we have a Portuguese version here, but we're an international store, so for you English speakers, you can enjoy Paco Roca's work, because fortunately he is very, very regarded, and so that gets him the right to be translated to multiple languages. So Paco Roca is really something. This is a book that I haven't read yet. It's on my wish list for a long time, and I was expecting to read it in Portuguese, but maybe I'll read it in English. I could read it in Spanish too, because most of us Portuguese can understand perfectly Spanish. Yeah, but I prefer to have them in my native language or my second language, which is English. So it's an opportunity for you to cleanse your eyes from Marvel, DC, superheroes, and etc., and crime, and etc., and read something completely different, because Paco Roca writes about more mundane things. Is a different kind of writer and a different kind of movement in the comics. So let me just read you the summary so that you can understand what the contents of this book are basically. So, admitted to a home for the elderly because he suffers from Alzheimer's disease, for Ernest, community life feels like an ordeal, but soon he accepts his new environment and decides to fight to escape from giving in to his awful destiny. For the author, the human community is like a library where books are piled up in mountains populated by the yellowing paper of dreams and fantasies, where life is covered in wrinkles, and some see the writing of their pages disappear, sheet after sheet, until they become completely blank. Despite this, the most intense emotions survive, preserved as a hidden treasure on a remote island. So you can understand that it deals with a very serious problem, which is Alzheimer's. Unfortunately, it still is very much to date drama in many people's lives. If you get to a certain age, you have a great probability of getting like that. I've got unfortunately a scenario like that or similar to that in my family, and I can tell you it's not easy. So these books are important. It's important to speak about the things that affect us in the days, and not just only fantasy. Of course, fantasy is escapism, and it gives us other things. But yeah, it's also important to reflect, to read a book that makes us think, and that has more probability of sticking with you after you read it than if you're reading just an action-packed book. At least that's my opinion. And it's good to switch from one genre to the other, because all of them have their virtues. We all have moods that change, so we might be into gore and then read something that calls to your emotions. Fortunately, comics have it all, and we have it all too in our shop. There's lots of things you can choose from, different different genres and etc. So that's what I wanted to show you, this tiny pile of books, but yeah, there's some. I was counting on getting another shipment with some special books, but it hasn't arrived yet. It should have, but yeah, it hasn't, so probably until the weekend, or maybe not, because it's Easter time, so the post offices probably aren't working tomorrow. But soon enough, I'll show you the special things that are coming. Not as much as these, but they are special. So I've taken you a lot of time. Still doubt that anyone has reached minute 30, but who knows? Maybe you're that patient. So you know where to buy these guys. Deviant.fun.biz. If you want to follow us, you can follow us here in the YouTube channel, where you get to see all these videos, or you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and drop us a message if you're looking for something that you can find. If you're undecided on some book that is advertised as being available